Hey guys, it's Sabirul here and welcome to another episode of Build Your Confidence on Stage. Now, confidence is a big factor, and when you're speaking on stage, one of the constant issues that a lot of people find, whether you're a speaker or not, a professional speaker or not, is how to remain consistent and more importantly confident whilst on stage so you don't lose your way. So that's exactly what I'll be covering in this episode, how to remain confident on stage. One of the biggest constraints or challenges people often find is remaining confident on stage throughout a presentation or the duration of a performance. Now, you may have that upbeat confidence when you go on stage, or you might be a little shy, whichever way it is, but halfway through you might get a bit sluggish. You might feel a little fight or flight sort of kicking in because you have that little stress and anxiety because you kind of lost your way during your performance. Now, the important thing is to remain calm, but more importantly, if you go back a bit, you actually need to be well structured. You need to be well informed about who the audience are, what their interests are, why they're actually here, and have a structure in place so that you know how to go from A to Z with your performance. So what this means is having a framework in mind. So what I use, for example, one of my talks is about the 7 P's of self-fulfillment. Now you see, the 7 P's gives me an idea. What that's called is called the numerical framework. The numerical framework in public speaking allows you to put in content as a specific number in any order. So these 7 P's I could talk about in any order, whatever they are. But at least it gives me a structure that, yes, I've covered the first P, I've covered the second P, and I know where I'm going throughout my performance. So it keeps me in line, it keeps me intact, and my confidence still stays up because I know I won't miss it. Another framework which I often use is what's called the chronological framework. Now, in public speaking, the chronological framework is great, especially if you're a storyteller. Now, for me, if to give you an example, I tell my personal story in terms of how I got into business very young and going on to writing my first book, going on to doing a tour around the world with the Inspire 1 Million campaign. Now, all of this happened in a sequential format from when I was 13, 14, 17, all the way up to the age of 20. So I tell that in an order, so I know I'm not going to miss it out when I'm telling this part of the story. So it's important to have a specific framework in mind before, or framework actually ready before you're actually going up and speaking on stage. So you're kept in line and intact with your performance. And that's one of the factors that keeps confident upbeat. Secondly, what you don't want to do, and a lot of people actually do, is when they get nervous on stage, they actually apologize, or when they make a mistake on stage, they apologize, and that's the worst thing you can do. Acknowledge that you've made the mistake, but keep that to yourself, because what you don't want to show to the audience is that you lack some form of confidence, or you lack some form of integrity, or you lose some form of credibility when you actually do make a mistake on stage. Make it into a joke, turn it into a joke, have a laugh to yourself and with the audience, but carry on. Don't apologize, and that's the worst thing you can do. You know, and when I got into speaking, and actually that was one of the key mistakes that I learned from my experience, that what happened after an event, when I did apologize throughout my performance every now and again, I lost credibility, and from that I was not rebooked for another event for that with that specific organizer. So I got to learn it through the hard way, and I want to encourage each and every one of you that if you do have that sense of, yes, I'm not feeling that confident halfway through a presentation, you made a mistake, or you know what you've completely forgot what you're going to say, move to another part of the room or of the stage. And so don't feel as if you need to say sorry and scratch your head about it or look down. You don't want to do that, because it gives you away, because you've come here on stage to speak with a certain personality, with a certain authority. They trust you to empower the audience, to keep the audience going, and that's exactly what you need to do. So have that, in fact, take a deep breath and feel that if you need to take a moment away, just step away, step back, or step to another part of the stage, and I think that way you'll be able to still keep that confidence juice flowing within you. Finally, to remain confident on stage, you have to know what exactly you're talking about. Now, I've come across a lot of speakers who go on stage and technically, yes, they're trying to wing it, And what the issue is behind that, and what I don't like about it, is the fact that when you're going on stage, you have that sense of trust you've already built with the audience because they respect you for having this authority, for being on stage. But then when you try and winging it, you're losing focus, you're losing track of where you're going, and more likely you will lose your way in terms of confidence on stage, and you won't know what exactly you want to say next. So you need to have some form of evidence, some form of research done in terms of the topic, the subject in which you're performing, the presenting to the audience. So you hold some form of credibility. And what you want to do is make sure that you have enough evidence to support any specific data that you provide, and not just any sort of evidence or not just from any source, but credible sources. And that's when you have all of this information at hand, and when you're passing on a specific knowledge or a method or an idea, and you back it up with evidence and research to suggest that this idea actually works from a credible source, you hold authority and you hold some form of credibility on stage. And that gives you confidence. That gives you confidence that people acknowledge, they shake their head, they go, ha, they appreciate what you've said. And all of that adds to that level of confidence. So remaining confident on stage is not just about knowing what you're going to say, but actually doing the background research, having a structure in place so that you have a framework in mind before you even go and speak on stage. You know exactly what to do and what not to do, but most importantly, not to apologize if you do make a mistake. And finally, having enough evidence to support what you're going to say. Confidence is about a knowing game, that if you know it well and you know it good enough, you know what you're going to say and what you're going to do. And if you don't let anxiety creep in during a performance, you won't let fight or flight hit you on stage. So your body will know how to exactly react. And as I say, take one step away, go to a different part of the stage, take a deep breath, take a moment of pause. All of these small little things helps you keep your blood flowing when you're performing on stage. And those are the critical factors on how to remain confident on stage. Thanks guys for watching this episode. Now, if you're serious about kickstarting your career in public speaking, I'm launching the Build Your Confidence on Stage book and online modular public speaking course, where I will teach you the 4 pillars of public speaking, which include the speaker's psychology, the principles of public speaking, the performance masterclass, and the profession of a public speaker. So if you're keen on harnessing your public speaking skills and turning your passion for speaking into a lifestyle profession, then register your interest now by visiting www.buildyourconfidenceonstage.com. The link is below, and I look forward to supporting your public speaking learning journey. See you next week.